So I want to talk all about microneedling and dermarolling your skin to increase collagen production. So let's start with why you would want to do this type of procedure on your face, on your body. It is designed to stimulate the collagen in the skin by creating micro injuries to the skin so that your body begins to produce more collagen to repair itself. And in doing so, your skin will appear more firm, which will help with any wrinkling, fine lines, acne scarring, stretch marks, you name it. And it really helps to improve the skin when you use little tiny needles to injure it. When you first start doing any type of microneedling or dermarolling, it is imperative that you start with the smallest size needles that you can find. You are almost training your skin as you work your way up in size. You don't want to start with the biggest needles you can find, and then actually you really don't want to use enormous needles on your face anyway. So when I first started rolling, I started with the 0.25 millimeter rollers, and I bought a really cheap roller from, I don't know if it was Marshall's or TJ Maxx. And let me show you. This is the thing that I got. You really don't want to buy them from those types of places. If you can see, it's kind of hard to see. There's I think there's 540 needles on this thing, something like that. The problem with these is that they are not real needles. Most of the time they are like a little disc that has a bunch of spikes on it. And the spikes, instead of being a needle that's really straight, they're more of like a triangular point. And so the way that it enters the skin is not direct, and you are more likely to tear and damage the skin using one of these. It's like a serrated knife blade versus little tiny needles. So I highly recommend you invest in a better quality dermaroller with actual needles. So after I did a lot of homework on different micro needling and dermarolling devices, I came across Gin Amber, which her needles are real needles. You can actually see them all the way down in the sides of her rollers. And so it's just much better the way that it enters the skin. You're not creating bad damage. It's damage that's actually reaching down into the dermis, where your skin is going to create that collagen and actually improve your skin over time versus breaking it down the way some of the other dermarollers can do. So starting with like a 0.25 millimeter dermaroller, you can do those every couple of days. You don't want to use a dermaroller every day. That's not a good idea. You're not giving your skin enough time to actually heal itself and produce more collagen. The 0.25 millimeter dermarollers really are not long enough to stimulate collagen production. They are used more for serum absorption. So you can use those every couple of days to really help your products penetrate the face better. You're creating direct channels down into the epidermis, and then the bigger the needles, the dermis. And so your products work a lot better than just applying them to the skin by themselves. Now, if you are looking to stimulate collagen growth within your skin, you will start to see better benefits by using a 0.5 millimeter and higher size dermaroller. So once I moved up to the 0.5 dermaroller, that's when I got Gin Amber's roller. And you can use those roughly every week. Depending on how quickly your skin heals, you might want to give it a week and a half, 2 weeks in between rolling times, especially when you're first starting with a larger size roller than say a 0.25. From there, I have gone up in size on my needles on my face. Gin Amber was so kind to gift me with her Aquastamps, which you can put a serum inside of this little device, this little chamber, and then the needles on the top go directly down into the skin, and that little gold piece is the hydraulic pump. So every time you are stamping into the skin, you are releasing the serum directly onto those fresh punctures on your skin. I think it's an incredible device, and because after I would finish dermarolling with a traditional roller, I would go back and put my serums on. And then she gifted me with these Aquastamps, and it's a all-in-one kind of action. So you are getting direct benefit. So let's talk a little bit about when you first start rolling, what are some of the most important things that you need to know? You have to be very, very sterile with your tools and with your skin. So with your tools, you want to sanitize them with at least 70% isopropyl alcohol, and you want to make sure that they dry so they don't have alcohol on it, so you're not poking alcohol into your face, because that wouldn't feel very good. The other thing that's incredibly important that I think I have to stress is to make sure your face is also sanitized. And a lot of people don't want to put isopropyl alcohol on their face, but if you were having this procedure done in a dermatologist's office or somewhere with an esthetician, they would be sanitizing your face because they don't want to risk infections and they don't want to cause breakouts on your skin. If you have a dirty roller, you're going to push that bacteria into your skin, which is not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you are either spraying down your rollers or dipping them and letting them dry with that alcohol before you start your procedure. And then you want to take a cotton swab and swab your whole face, your neck if you're doing that, your body if you were rolling on stretch marks and things like that. You want to make sure it is as sterile as possible. On the subject of bacteria and things like that, if you have an active breakout on your face, you don't want to roll over that because you are poking needles into the bacteria on your face and then using hundreds of other needles and poking them all over your face. It is not a good idea. You are likely going to experience breakouts if you are actively rolling over a breakout. Whenever you are sterilizing, you want to make sure that you are sterilizing your tools both before and after each session, just so that you know it is clean every single time that you go to use your roller. The next thing I want to touch on is, what do you put on your face after you roll? You want to use some type of hydrating serum. I usually use something very, very natural. Gin Amber also gifted me with some of her serums, and so in the Aquastamp, or if I put it on afterwards, I use both the Peptide serum and the hyaluronic acid. I was using the vitamin C serum. I have since stopped using vitamin C serums with dermarolling and microneedling because there have been some dermatologic studies that show the skin can produce granulomas underneath the skin, which is essentially encompassing a foreign body within your skin. And I think that can create scarring over time, things like that, infections. And so vitamin C is something I'm kind of staying away from right now until I find out more about those studies. But hyaluronic acid has been fantastic for keeping the skin really plump and juicy. And then also the peptide serum, just to really help with that collagen production. And then I usually follow up with a heavy moisturizer, and I always roll at night so that my skin has a little bit of time overnight to rest and repair itself. Also, post-rolling or stamping, my skin tends to be pretty red. I'm a little bit sensitive skinned, so I don't want to be all red when I go out. After rolling, I wait at least 24 hours to apply makeup, sometimes closer to 36. If I'm doing it at night, then I'm not going to be applying for a full day and then the next following morning. So it usually ends up being about 36 hours before I put makeup on. And that is really, really important too, because there are open holes on your face and your face has to heal itself and repair. So you have to give it time for those holes that you've created to close. Final notes before I show you how it works. The larger the needle size that you use, the longer amount of time you need to heal before you can roll again. So the 0.25 millimeter you can roll every couple of days. If you're doing a 0.5, at least a week to a week and a half between sessions. Once you get up to like the 0.75, you want to give it 2.5 to 3 weeks. A 1 millimeter, you want to give a full month at least. And some people might actually benefit from 5 weeks or so to let the skin heal and produce more collagen. since I have been rolling, the fine lines around my eyes and my forehead have diminished significantly. You can see, I mean, I can still move my face, obviously, but I don't really see lines anymore necessarily when I look at my face. And as I'm getting closer to 30, I was starting to get just very, very fine lines, which is totally normal. But those are really kind of almost gone when you look at my skin. I've also noticed around my mouth, like these lines kind of next to the nasolabial folds, you really don't have, they're not as deep as they used to be. It looks a lot smoother between my cheek to my mouth. My lips are a little bit poutier. I mean, it's not like I had fillers or anything like that, but they definitely have a little more volume to them than they used to, which is also really nice. I don't go higher than 0.5 millimeter on my lips. Even that does cause a little bit of bleeding, which is also important to note. So the 0.25 and 0.5 millimeter, I don't really experience a ton of bleeding. The 0.5, I do get some pinprick bleeding here and there, but it's not bad. Using the 1 millimeter Aquastamp definitely causes some bleeding on me. It's uncomfortable. I know a lot of you are probably wondering about the pain. The 0.25 is nothing. That doesn't hurt at all, at least in my opinion. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of sensitive skinned. The 0.5, it's uncomfortable. It's not horrible, but it's not, you know, it's not fun. It starts to get a little almost itchy. Going up to a 1 millimeter definitely does not feel good. I'm happy when my sessions are over, but it's temporary. It's not a long-term pain that you're experiencing. And I find that after any of my rolling sessions, my skin feels like it has a sunburn. You know, that kind of just tight, itchy, sunburned feeling. Like that's kind of what it feels like after you derma roll. And so again, that's why it's nice to do at night, so you don't have to deal with discomfort throughout the day. Now, again, kind of moving into like makeup, when you can wear that and what you should be putting on your face in the days following rolling, you really want to make sure that you are moisturizing the skin really well. I kind of take the less is more approach. I really don't put a ton on my skin in the time following my sessions. I do use a heavy SPF if I am going to be outside. If you're able to avoid going outside, that's also, I think, ideal. Again, you have those micro holes and channels into your face, and so you don't want to increase the risk of developing hyperpigmentation when you're outside because of that, which you should be wearing a sunscreen anyway, but especially following microneedling. Now that we've covered kind of all of the basics about microneedling, what to expect, needles, times that you should be doing it, I'm going to show you how I do my routine. And this routine is one where I use the 0.5 roller to just do a once over quick prime on my face, and then I go back in with the Aquastamp, because then you've got a little bit of that channeling in there, and so the serum can penetrate the skin better. So stick around. If you are squeamish at all, there is some blood on my face. It's not like a vampire facial, but there definitely is some blood involved with using a larger needle size. So if you are squeamish, just go ahead and skip that last part. I love microneedling and dermarolling. I've noticed a big improvement in my skin. I've been doing this for, I don't know, probably 6 months now. And I just feel like it's the easiest way to rejuvenate the skin at home. It's not crazy expensive. And if you do it properly, you're gonna see really, really incredible benefits in your skin. So stick around if you wanna see my new routine.
To begin the procedure, I sterilize my equipment as well as my face using a cotton swab and 70% isopropyl alcohol. I will be doing my neck tonight, so I make sure to sanitize that too. Then I use the Gin Amber Peptide Serum and Hyaluronic Acid Serum, and I disperse both of those into the Aquastamp, and then attach the cap and mix the two together by shaking vigorously. So you definitely want to avoid any blemishes, so I will be going around those tonight, and I'm starting by priming my skin using the 0.5mm Dermaroller. Normally, if I was just doing this, I would go over each section twice, and then I would go horizontal, and then I would also go at a diagonal angle. But since I am just priming the skin before I use the Aquastamp, I'm just doing a very, very light roll across my entire face. Since the Aquastamp I'm using is a longer needle, I'm giving a little bit of extra TLC around my eyes and also on my lips. I personally never use anything larger than 0.5 on my lips, as the lips are thinner and so it already draws a fair amount of blood on them. Next, I am gently rolling my neck. I don't go super far down on my neck. You definitely can, but I just tend to focus closer up towards my face. Using the 0.5 is uncomfortable but not painful, and I would say I have relatively sensitive skin, as you can see, because I turn red pretty easily. But I personally don't find the 0.5 to be very pain-inducing. Okay, so now I am starting with the 1mm Aquastamp. Anytime you use this, it uses a hydraulic system to disperse the product into your new punctures. I will say for this video, I was having issues with the hydraulic not dispensing the product. Normally, if you go faster like I am here, it helps to push the product out. However, it just was not working. I tend to go over each section at least twice with the Aquastamp. There are less needles on these than the Dermarollers. You can see I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the hydraulic. Still couldn't get it to work though. Because my cheeks are pretty full and round, I try to make them a little bit more taut by stretching out my mouth usually. The Aquastamp does take a little bit more time to do than dermarolling. However, I have found that this has incredible results. You do have to wait longer because these needles are a little bit longer. Gin Amber does make a shorter Aquastamp, which I also have. It's the 0.25mm, and you can use that much more frequently. I haven't had any issues with that hydraulic stopping up. As you can see, it definitely makes little pinpricks of blood. Since I couldn't get the hydraulic to work, I put it onto my hands afterwards and rubbed it into the skin. And I just continued doing this repeatedly until I had used all of the serum and just kept gently pressing it into my face and my neck. Then I put on the ASAP DNA treatment and the Bella Aura Instant Lifting Eye Contour and Night Cellular Renewal onto my face, followed by the Fitglow Night Lip Serum, which is lovely. That is my final face. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.